Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I have a rack with no duplicates, but it's not a bingo-y rack. I have a good scoring tile in the J. And I have Jet and Jedi on my rack, so I should be able to play through this. Great, just 18 points for my opponent, so I don't start with a huge deficit. Now I could play JEU in column 10 for 26 points. Can I do better than that? That would leave not a great rack lead, DLPT, prone to drawing more consonants. Do I have something in column 11 which gets doubled? I've got dupe in column 10, but that doesn't score as much as je. Je is quite nice because it blocks or obstructs column 11. Just not seeing anything better. I've got Jet A for 22 points. Maybe that's worth doing. I've got Jeep, but it doesn't get doubled. So it's 4 fewer points than je, but it's playing off one more consonant, which means that this rack leave is more balanced. I'm slightly hesitant because I feel this rack ought to offer more opportunities than the moves I've considered. But I haven't seen them, so I'm going with this. Wow, plenty of vowels. I can't see a 7 on this rack. A few floating consonants to consider. Can't see anything with the G, or the L, or the D. So I'm drawn to column 12 because I have an O for going next to the J. And this triple letter square to the left of the E may be useful. My P can go there. So I could play PIU, not a great rack leave. There may be some 8s with this rack, but I haven't seen any so far. So 29 points for my opponent. I'm drawn to playing either in column 13 or column 10. Well, column 10's out because I've got nothing which goes in front of TE. So what about column 13? My P can go after JA, as can my I. The P's more likely. Then I can place an E here, although I could have a play ending ID. So I can play loped. I could also play loipy for a better rack lead, so that's 45 points. Wow, sacrifice of 12 points. I don't think that's worth doing. So loped for 45, is that the best I can do? That's a pretty decent score. It takes an E and the S and an S in front. Can't see any way of avoiding that. Well, how about just doing that? 2 more points, takes out the hook and a better rack leave. I'm going with this. Pretty horrendous, but I do currently have a slender lead. From an S, I would have skidoo. Kai Koi through a K, where a blank to be played as such. The K is a good scoring tile, but not many obvious K spots on the board. This rack may be worth changing. I can't see any way of getting even 20 points with it, and the play of Koi with a rack leave of DWIO is a pretty grim rack leave. And in any event, I see nowhere currently for Koi. I don't recall playing this opponent before, so I know nothing about him. But he's taking a while with this particular move. Jap takes nothing in front, so column 10. Not a huge spot. Ted only takes an S in front. Now, do I have a play in row B which gets the K tripled? Don't think so. I do have Koi in row I, but that doesn't score very much. Only 14 points, so that's not better than changing. Opponent plays, gets 10 points. Wow, that suggests he's maybe holding on to a powerhouse. Through a D, I may have Diddy Koi, but this D not available. Well, none of the 3 Ds available. I don't have anything which goes in front of G or after D. I think I have to change with this rack, it's just rubbish. And I'm keeping nothing. Not great. Not really close to a bingo at all. And opponent has signalled that he is. I've got 4 scoring tiles on my rack. I'd like to play off 3 of them. So through an O I could play Comfy, which would get rid of all of them. I've got the FY and IFY ending. I don't have anything which goes in front of G, which would be an A or a U. And I still somehow have a lead. So a slow start for both of us. Just looking at these floaters, my Y goes well with the L because of LY and ILY. But I'm not seeing a play through there. I have Fly, which would be better than changing. Metic isn't a terrible rack leave. C and M have some synergy. So this is a good board for bingos, but not otherwise. And it's not a great board for bingos, but there are quite a few lanes. Wow, nice score for my opponent, 49 points. And there is now a nice spot for my Y underneath this N, so I could just play FY. I've got a spot for IFY or ITY, so am I sure there isn't a longer word ending in Y with this rack? Well, I don't think there is. So Phi for 34. Now, this looks a lot more interesting. There could well be a 7 here. Now, there is a centime. Not sure it plays. It doesn't. But it may after my opponent has played. So what about the floaters G and L? Not seeing anything with the G. How about the L? Wow, opponent provides nothing. Do I have a bingo with this rack plus an L? So I've got the ment ending. And how about a play beginning with the U, UN or UM? No, okay, so I've drawn a blank with this rack in terms of bingos, which is a shame since I am sitting on one. But it doesn't play, and I trail by 20. EF does take a T after it. And does Centime have an anagram? I don't think it does. So I could play Tech, keeping mine. I don't have anything which goes after NE, so I don't think I'm going to score enough to justify playing in column 14. Meanie is good. So what I could do is play Sight for 23, killing the board, but I'm not really behind. This will draw me level, and I'm keeping quite a good rack lead. Yeah, I'm going with this. Now, is Mini Vet good? I think it is. There's nowhere for it. And one of the reasons for playing that blocky move is that I don't have any of the S's or blanks, and a play such as Tech would have provided a great lane for an S or a blank, which would advantage my opponent over me. I lead by 2. I will just check Minivet. It's fine, but absolutely nowhere for it on this board. The glued play means that parallel plays have to have 2 consecutive vowels, and Sight takes nothing in front of it. Have I considered the floaters? None of them look particularly promising with this rack. And I'm not seeing anything there. Minivet doesn't play. 26 points for my opponent. I've got nothing which goes after Jape. And quite a tight board. Just wondering if I've got to play through ENE. Not a bingo, but just a play which scores. My M could go underneath HE and score quite well. And my V could go in front. Not seeing anything there. I trail by 20 or 30 points. What about a play with the M here? So my T or N could go underneath HE. Not seeing anything. Just checking I have nothing which goes after Jape, and I don't. So I'd like to get rid of the V. And I'm looking at playing through G or L because I don't think I have any other options. 11 minutes on my clock, 51 tiles in the bag. Through a C I would have Victim. C of Sight not quite available. What about a play ending Sight? No, well the best I can do is Insight. Close to re-insight. Well, what about just playing Vig? Keeping a decent 5-letter set, not giving a huge amount away, and if opponent has a bingo ending in S, he'll be providing a ton of floaters. I'm going with this. Interesting, I draw an S. I have quite a few bingos here. because I have mistune, minuets, munites, mutines, and one other. They all play in row I, making vigs. Nothing begins with S. I think all 5 anagrams begins with M. Mistune, if I didn't say that. Do I have anything which goes after BOH apart from the S? No. So, did opponent play HE, retaining a hook for jape? If he did, surely he's going to play that. And do I have a preference in terms of row I so that I don't waste time should that remain available? So minutes doesn't place a vowel by a premium square, nor does munites. Well, I don't think there's an awful lot to choose between those. I just need to hope that it remains available. This is the 3rd consecutive rack I've had a bingo, but this is the first time I've had a playable one. And do I have a bingo coming down from the L or the U? Muslinette is the bingo through the L. That doesn't play. I've blocked that. How about a play through the U? Well, that would be a 2U play, and I'm not seeing it. Other bingo lanes, columns 15 and 14, require bingos starting with S. Great. Opponent has blocked row I, but he hasn't blocked my bingo. So, how best to play? It would be quite nice to have a play which obstructs a column 15 bingo without sticking a tile in the middle of column 15, so that would require the 2nd letter of my bingo to hook LI, and I'm not sure that's going to happen. So, I don't want to waste time on marginal calls. Ah, well, can I get my M tripled? Yes, I can. So, mistune for 70. Pretty good. Through an N, I would have sub-pina. And I say pretty good just as an immediate reaction to seeing no duplicates and seeing an S and an okay balance of vowels and consonants. Plus I have scoring tiles if I don't bingo. And I have an S for going at the end of jape, should that remain available, and should it be my best play. Sight has killed the top left of the board, apart from 4-letter front extensions to it. Wow, look at this. I have sub-pina. That's a stroke of good fortune. It feels like quite a few games since I've had one of those. So, sub-pina for 78. Okay, I shall not be having a further back-to-back bingo, but it's great to get sub-pina down. So I have the Q, but I have the I with it, which is good. I have the S to help play it. And I've got an A to play cat onto a T, and AI for Cade and Caddy. I can see immediately that I've got chi and my, and chi and is, and chi with the I of vig. So I can certainly get rid of the Q. There's also the U of sub-pina, but that's not going to be available for a big score. Opponent plays an F, and onto an F I would have had Wakf. So I'm faced with a choice here. Do I play the Q, or do I get rid of my other problem tiles, because if I play the Q, I'm probably keeping W, K and M. Now if I could play Mork somewhere, I would be keeping QIS. So, are there any good Mork spots? So 8 minutes on my clock, and I'm looking to see if there's somewhere for Mork. And I would consider burning the S. But I'm not seeing anywhere. And that's a shame, because if there were such a spot, it would be my inclination to play it. I don't really want to keep W, K and M. 7 minutes on my clock, 26 tiles to come, that's a lot. So I have Mork and M. That feels reckless. So I'm going to play the Q. And I'm just wondering if there's anywhere which obstructs bingo lane, since I am a bingo ahead, not seeing anywhere. This doesn't give much away. It scores 26 points. I guess it is obstructing row I, but it's not killing it. I've spent long enough, I'm going with this. Wow, I feel I don't deserve that blank. I did not like QI. However, this is looking fairly good, and I may not have a bingo this turn, but I should be able to leave myself with a decent rack lead with a reasonable prospect of bingoing next turn. I was just going to say how useful this S of subpoena looked for bingo prospects. Opponent's taken that, but surely he's provided something massive for me in column 1. All of my scoring tiles go next to this O. I can feel myself metaphorically salivating. So what do I have? Well, I have whore. Do I have something better? I have wham. I like wham because it gets rid of one more scoring tile. That's 55 points. That's huge. Opponent only got 64 with his play. So this gives me back a big lead. I'm retaining the blank and the S. Everything is rosy in the garden. Bang. And that's pretty good. Could easily have a bingo here, although K bingo's less common than non-K ones. Opponent's taken out a nice S spot. Only scores 29 points. Look at that, only 1 point tiles. So I'm a bingo ahead, only 8 tiles in the bag, but they do include a blank. This game is not over, but it would be nearly over if I can bingo right now. There are several bingo lanes on the board, in particular columns 3 and 14. And row O, beginning with L. So given columns 3 and 14, I'm going to look for 7s, and nothing has sprung to mind. So let me whiz through the alphabet. Five minutes on my clock. Earlocks through a C. Kilo rads through a D, but I'm not sure there are any floaters on this board apart from the bottom L. Still not seen anything. No. Row clays through an E. No, so my only problem tile is the K. And Arc is playable. I could simply play KO in this spot, leaving a jolly decent rack leave. There's only one blank out there and no S's. So this is what I'm thinking of. 28 points, and I'm mindful of the time. I need to leave myself a little bit should we get into a tight end game. Opponent could have a back-to-back bingo. LR not great. I'm certainly not guaranteed a bingo. This is 28 points. Is there some much better spot? No, I'm going with this. I have urinals. Does that play? Well, it does. It plays in column 4. And opponent would need to burn his blank to play in column 4. But he could do so with a bingo. I'm only 85 points in front. So I could do with an alternative bingo playable in column 14 where urinals does not play. I'm discounting row O. I don't think I'll have a play there. Not seen anything yet. I've got the LY ending, so I would have a absurdly through a B. Eight minutes on opponent's clock. That looks... is Laurel's good? If it is, it plays in column 14. Let me check. Bang! That's it. And that doesn't matter. Opponent bingos. But there are no tiles in the bag. I'm leading and I'm about to bingo. Let me just finish this exercise. That's urinals. Opponent hasn't created any new spots. There may be something here that looks potentially like there is. Squarely through an E. Okay, great. Well, let me get this down. Urinals for 78. And the final score, 377 to my opponent, 494 to me, a winning margin of 117 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. It was my opponent to go first. He played Glued, and this was a rack I struggled with. Wow, Jilted was available, and that was available on my rack as well. And Upjet also available, so I think all of these top 3 plays probably better than my play of Jet A. DILP, really not a good rack leave, significantly worse than EP. Plus the move Jet A scores 6 pure points, so quite a big difference there. But sometimes one does get off to a slow start. Opponent plays Baned, and I have Eloped for 47. 10 points for my opponent. So he played GD here, keeping the S back, but keeping the Z as well, not particularly bingo-y. And this was the rack I changed with, and I'm happy with that. Nice spot by my opponent. And now I play City, I think. Or do I play FY? I play FY. Yeah, that's fine, keeping Metic. Opponent plays Ow. And now I have Centime. Nowhere for it. And I play Sight for 23, which is fine. Nice rack for my opponent. Heating and the like. Nowhere for it. So he played HE from this rack, keeping AGINT, so he wasn't keeping a hook. And now I have Minivet, nowhere for it. And and Venine was playable. There was a play through the ENE, but keeping duplicate I. So I play Vig for 7, keeping EIMNT. Is that 20 points better than IIMT? No, but it's probably between 10 and 20 points better. And if it's even as close as 5 points, then I prefer the better rack leave, and Venine has the additional disadvantage of, well, providing further access to column 15. Now, opponent has a bingo. Nowhere for it. He has tailing. Plays LI. So he was keeping a pretty bingo-y 6-setter set. But that's great for me. I have mistune. Wow. And opponent pretty unlucky. Doesn't have a bingo. Plays signal. And again, unlucky for my opponent, but very fortunate for me that I have subpoena. And I have a 100-point lead. Opponent plays frat. Wow. E15. Score and japes for 47, keeping QI. And taking out a super hot bingo lane. But leaving the queue. So instead I played Chi for 26, retaining the possibility of playing score next game. Difficult to know what's best there. It's possible that one of those plays, and in particular score, is significantly better than QI, but I'm not sure. I would need to run that through Quackle. In any event, great bingo for my opponent. Eroticas for 64. Oh wow, look at this. Mawkish playable. Gosh. I did not think to look for a bingo with this rack. Wow, Mawkish, and I'd considered Mawk on the previous go. And look at that, it plays in row D, not columns 1 or 3. So, well done if you spotted that. Instead, I played Wham for 55, keeping blank KS, so a 44-point score deficit. Blank SK probably worth in the region of 30 points, so that wasn't a huge bingo miss. And Mawkish also leaves available column 1, so although it would have been nice to have seen the bingo and possibly to have played it, I don't think that's a bad miss in terms of winningness or equity. This was my opponent's rack, just 1 pointers, plays ratio, and there's just a 50-point gap between us. Now this looks a lot more bingo-y, but I couldn't find one, and there isn't one. So I play KO, leaving a good rack leave for 28 points. Could have got 9 more points, but blank LORS, definitely 9 points better than blank O. Opponent bingos, and Laurels and Urinals were the only bingos available. And that was the end of the game. So, great fun. It's always good to win, and it feels like I've been on the receiving end of quite a few drubbings recently, or at least losses, if not drubbings. So it was nice to have a good game and win comfortably, and also have a nice run of tiles, and in particular getting Subpoena down as a back-to-back bingo was pretty good. So I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.